So a lot has now been talked about the Detroit Lions 2023 NFL draft. And listen, I'm still not crazy about the Jahmyr Gibbs selection. I still think that even though I think he's a good player, probably not the right time to draft a running back. I think that's how I view it. I also didn't love the Bijan Robinson selection for the same reason. But a lot of people have been talking about how, hey, these Lions rookies have really shown up, and maybe the biggest name is someone who I actually had at number 9 on my overall big board. I was that big of a fan of him, Brian Branch. I really didn't understand why Branch fell to the second round. I didn't understand why he was projected to, be a late first rounder in the first place. Like I said, I had him as a top 10 talent, and so far, he's exceeded my expectations for what he's done this season early on. He was a monster in this Falcons-Lions game. He was the best player on the field. He was a monster. He really was. I mean, he was just outstanding. And so let's talk about what he was able to do so effectively, starting off with the play that you see on the screen, where it's going to be, this is a tough play for a young player to make. And part of me wonders, when I first saw these plays, I'm wondering if he's just guessing and getting lucky, which would be a concern, although maybe not that concerning because, Falcons, they do run the ball a lot, so maybe you can, cheat a little bit, but then you don't want to get beat on play actions that way. So at the same time, you kind of can't. So this is a tough situation. He's in zone coverage, right? He's the one who I show a tight end getting ready to block. He's supposed to drop back into coverage if it's a passing play, but he has to run up and try to tackle the running back if it's a running play. These are difficult. And, part of why play action can be so difficult is when you have a guy that's tough to tackle, like Bijan Robinson is, you have to run up and try and make a play, but then they can run play action and throw over you. Well, watch when this play begins, you see that while he's starting to, he's respecting the run, he's moving in that direction, he's not going all out either. I think he's doing kind of what you should be doing, especially when it looks to be a pitch on your side of the field. Then it makes a lot more sense to respect it a little bit more, because if, Ritter's going to roll out, he's going to roll out towards the bottom of the screen, so you would have, more time to get back into coverage if you have to. So the question from here is going to be, how well does Branch go up and get to Robinson? And watch what he does. Watch how he just explodes, is able to get back past the tight end and make that immediate tackle. So the second he saw that ball pitched, he went into a top gear, was able to go over and make that tackle. Could that potentially leave him open to getting beat in a passing play? Potentially, for sure. But the other thing I would think about is that these plays don't just happen in a vacuum. Sometimes you do catch on to what your opponent is doing. You can kind of guess, this feels like a running play, I'm going to take this chance. And I would still say, I don't think he's sold out for the run. I think he was able to read it to some degree. Heading over to this play, got to talk about his coverage as well. We're going to talk a lot more about his, kind of like run defense and him playing this sort of, slot corner / safety hybrid role, which he did very well. But what's going to happen on this play is, again, he's just a slot corner here, really, going up against a decent receiver. You might have heard of him, Drake London, first round pick from last season, who had a very good year for the Atlanta Falcons. So, okay, tough matchup here for Branch, but let's see how he does. Right off the bat, it's going to be Drake London doing Drake London things. Really good route running, getting Branch a little bit out of position. You see how Branch's hips are turned towards the top of the screen? Yeah, throw that you should definitely expect Ritter to make, I think. I think this is a good decision by Ritter. But watch how Branch so quickly reaches back and is able to get that hand out and knock that football away. There was a little bit of contact. I don't think enough to warrant a flag, though. To me, that's good defense by Brian Branch. Really good stuff. And so, again, if you're, as a slot corner, shutting down the team's number one receivers, basically, while also being a monster in the run game, there's just a ton of value in that. I mean, that's insane, quite frankly. Now, going over to some negatives, because, I don't just talk positives here. I do the full evaluation. There was really, I think, one negative I can really point towards, this one, where you see where he is on the screen. As you see, Branch is going to, eventually go off screen, but then he's going to get back on screen. And I should mention that I did watch the all 22 footage of this game. I'm displaying the broadcast footage because just the website I used, the Zone, the website that has the all 22 footage, has been really difficult to navigate. So it's just easier to display the broadcast footage. So in case you're wondering how am I going to make a film study just using broadcast footage of a safety, well, there's your reason. But anyway, going back to this play, what he did, before this isn't really that relevant. It seemed like he played solid coverage, but whatever. That's not really relevant to the conversation. Just watch what he does. As you see, he kind of goes for a big hit there. I feel like instead of wrapping up and making a tackle, that's what it looked like to me. I think he kind of, maybe he thought that the other player, his teammate would wrap up and then he could just come in and deliver a hit, maybe knock the ball out, something like that. Did kind of deliver the hit right where the football was, but more important to make a tackle there than to deliver a hit. And again, it was right at the first down marker. So I'm assuming what he thought was going to happen was that player would be slowed up. He can just kind of deliver the hit, be a wall there right in front of the first down marker, set a 3rd down and 1. But then when his first player missed a tackle, he ends up missing the tackle as well. Okay, no big deal, but just, got to talk about the negatives if we're talking about the positives. Again, something like this, these are kind of plays you see in college football sometimes, where you see how a couple of double team blocks for the Atlanta Falcons, usually what happens is someone will eventually get off one of those double team blocks and block someone at the next level. Brian Branch is that someone at the next level. He's the one I've circled in black here. But watch how when his play begins, again, he reads that it's probably a running play. If this is the passing play, you are in trouble, but he did read that it appears to be a rushing play. And honestly, if it's a passing play, just keep going at that point and try to create a pressure on Ritter. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. Right here, gets through the gap. Now he has to make a tackle on Tyler Algier, who is certainly no slouch. Everyone talks about Bijan. Algier is a really good running back too. As you see, Branch is able to make that quick tackle and is able to stop, Algier in his tracks. That's a really good play from Branch. So to be able to, again, get through that gap quickly, but then also make that quick tackle. It was frustrating Atlanta Falcons players all game long how good he was. Also, this one, another good example where it's going to be they're going to have a swing pass towards the bottom of the screen. You get the ball in Kyle Pitts' hands. Okay, sure, makes sense. You do have a receiver going out to block Brian Branch. Brian Branch is the one who I show about to get blocked by a receiver. Watch how when this play begins, again, it's just awareness. It's just understanding what's going on the field. Branch reads this play really well, notices what's going on, and is trying to get around the receiver who's blocking him, and is doing a pretty good job. Branch does get around him, and he's able to make that quick tackle on Kyle Pitts. That's just great football. And, so far, Branch has been awesome. So, I think one of the things I said during the draft process, once we did our, when Kyle and I were doing the podcast, was, well, I didn't like the Gibbs pick. I'm just not going to like that pick. That's just, it's the decision I don't love. It is what it is. It's not an insult on the player. It's just the process I'm never going to be a fan of. It might work out. We'll see. I actually defended the Jack Campbell pick. I think Jack Campbell's really good. And I kind of said that I thought the Brian Branch pick in many ways made up for the Gibbs pick, which I didn't love. If they drafted Branch at 12 and then drafted Gibbs in round 2, I'd probably be saying, hey, this is pretty good. So, in theory, you could have Brian Branch and also have someone who isn't a running back at 12. At the end of the day, Gibbs is doing some nice things so far. And we'll see what he can continue to do. That's a conversation for another day. But, I really thought that Branch has just been awesome so far, which is the main thing we're talking about. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.